الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على أشرف الأنبياء سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد طب القلوب ودوائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها. وبعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا خير خلق الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله. مسألة التفضيل, the matter pertaining to superiority, even though the books of Aqaid have stipulated أخف البدعة or have said bid'ah khafifa, this should not be misconstrued to mean that this bid'ah must be ignored, because the fuqaha have stipulated in their works. If you check works like Tabyeen al-Haqa'iq and other works of al-fiqh, jurisprudence, you will find that they mention praying behind such a person is makruh tahriman, meaning the salah, the prayer, is wajibul iyada, necessary to be repeated. So the bid'ah is not a bid'ah to be ignored. And other ulama have mentioned that the first step to rifq is the step of taking the mas'ala to tafdeel, the issue of superiority, as an issue that must be ignored or something that is not taken heavily. Now, before I mention the main issue regarding inhisar al-arba'a, limitation to 4, I would like to mention that we do not ignore the fact that Ahlul Bayt, the family of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, have a specific position which no one can take away from them. Ahlul Bayt al-Nubuwwa alayhi salatu wasalam have certain fada'il which no other individuals have. But having a fadila, a virtue, any specific thing, does not take away the position of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah that Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu has a superiority which some have termed as afdaliyya mutlaqa, which is defined as kathratu thawab wal karama wa qurbun inda rabbil arbab, that having kathratu thawab, numerous reward. Remember, the word is not action, kathratul a'mal. The word is kathratu thawab. We know the hadith of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam that if a companion gives a hand amount of soil in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this will weigh more than the amount of Uhud in gold, showing that one action of a companion can outweigh the actions of everyone else. So the actions of Sayyiduna Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, he radiyallahu anhu has kathratu thawab wal karama, nobility with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and qurbun inda rabbil arbab, a closeness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which has not been attained by any one of the companions like Sayyiduna Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. And this is what is meant by afdaliyya. And this is what Imam Sa'd-ud-Din Taftazani rahimahullah ta'ala in Sharh al-Maqasid mentions when mentioning the afdaliyya, the superiority of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. He defines it in this aspect. So mentioning that Imam Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu mentioned that Sayyidatuna Fatima radiyallahu anha is the best, afdal, and not mentioning the fact that this was relating to certain qualities of Sayyidatuna Fatima radiyallahu anha is deception. Because Sidi Ahmad Zarruq and many others of the Malikiya have mentioned that Sayyiduna Imam Malik radiyallahu anhu was asked regarding a shaykhain, and he mentioned that they, Sayyiduna Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anh and Sayyiduna Umar radiallahu anh, are the most superior. From this aspect, كثرة الثواب قرب عند رب الأرباب and الكرام عند الله سبحانه وتعالى. Now, with regard to انحصار الأربعة, why we limit certain slogans or even having conferences mentioning the four? Something that is overlooked. I bought one book with me today because I knew many ulama will be speaking and I thought it is sufficient just to bring one book. Al-Musamara, which is a commentary of Al-Musayara. The name of the work Al-Musamaratu بِالشَّرْحِ الْمُسَايَرَةِ فِي الْعَقَائِدِ مُنْجِيَةِ فِي الْآخِرَةِ. Ibn Abi Sharif rahimahullah ta'ala comments on the work of Al-Musayara of Kamal ibn Humam rahimahullah ta'ala, the author of Fath al-Qadir. On page 441, we have فضل الصحابة الأربعة, the virtue of the four companions. Now, even though I read this chapter on the way to Bradford to refresh my reading, something which is overlooked is that when we say إجماع أهل السنة والجماعة in أفضلية, there is agreement, consensus of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah stipulated by Imam Shafi'i radiyallahu ta'ala an, and as mentioned by Imam al-Bayhaqi rahimahullah ta'ala, and as mentioned by Imam Ibn Hajar al-Makki rahimahullah ta'ala, stipulating that Imam Shafi'i radiyallahu an said there is ijma'. But why do they mention these specific four? Because the ijma' is munhasir, limited to these four. And the tartib given, there is ijma' that Sayyiduna Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu comes first. Then Sayyiduna Umar radiyallahu anhu comes second. Then the Jamhur say Sayyiduna Uthman radiyallahu anhu is third. And Sayyiduna Ali radiyallahu anhu is fourth. But there is ijma' of these four being superior to the rest, with the specific definition that I have mentioned. Otherwise, who can take the superiority? If I say Sayyiduna al-Imam al-Hasan is afdal, and I do not qualify this, what will you understand from me saying Sayyiduna al-Imam al-Hasan radiyallahu anhu is afdal? Certain fadail of Sayyiduna al-Imam al-Hasan radiyallahu anhu no one can have. Like making sulh with Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu, and in the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari, it mentions that Sayyiduna Imam al-Hasan radiyallahu anhu had kata'ib, armies like Jibal, mountains. If he wanted to, he would have defeated Sayyiduna Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu, but yet to safeguard this nation, he radiyallahu anhu made sulh. This fadila no one can have. So if I say Sayyiduna Imam al-Hasan radiyallahu anhu is afdal, it is not understood as being that he is superior to Sayyiduna Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu in those specific things, which we Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah term as fadila mutlaqa, unlimited superiority. This is how you translate this. And this is not a bid'ah of ulama of Indian subcontinent. In fact, the author of Zubdat al-Tahqiq mentions that the work of Fadl Rasul Badayuni rahmallahu ta'ala is a reliable work. After mentioning that the work of Fadl Rasul Badayuni rahmallahu ta'ala is a reliable work, he has quoted the work himself. He fails to mention that Fadl Rasul rahmallahu ta'ala is one of those who mentions the afdaliyah of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. And with this tartib, with the mention of these four. So the limitation of four does not negate the other companions alayhim ridwan, but it mentions that the ijma' of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah and who is superior with what? With kathratu thawab, al-karama, عند الله سبحانه وتعالى, قرب عند رب الأرباب. With this definition, who is afdal? There is ijma' of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah and these four. After these four, no one has claimed ijma'. the opinions may differ and clash with one another, but there is no ijma' opinion after these four. But there are opinions of a Sahabi, Aqdakum Ali, wa afradukum Zayd, that the best of judge from amongst you is Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, and the most superior of you in inheritance laws is Zayd radiallahu anhu. So there are superiorities mentioned in specific chapters, but with the definition as mentioned by the ulama of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, the ijma' is munhasir, limited to these four. And this is why these four are specified. Even though we have nusus, textual stipulation mentioning al-asharatul mubasharat, the 10. So if we held a conference mentioning the 10, would this mean that we have negated the other sahabatul kiram alayhim ridwan? No. Or if we held a conference mentioning the 5, and we should hold these type of conferences. Conferences in remembrance of Ahlul Bayt. And finally, I would like to mention that certain things have been attributed to Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, especially those who follow Imam Ahmad Rida Khan rahimahullah ta'ala. Like we prohibit people from saying Ya Ali radiallahu anhu in our gatherings. This is false propaganda. We do not stop people from saying Ya Ali radiallahu anhu. Other propaganda, and as Sayyid Irfan Shah hafidhahullah ta'ala is present, if I make a mistake he can correct me, that we only hold one opinion on the Iman of Abu Talib, and we say no other opinion is allowed, when in fact Zayn Dahlan rahimahullah ta'ala held the opinion that the Iman of Abu Talib is proven in his work Asna al-Matalib fi Imani Abi Talib. And Ustad al-Ulama al-Allama Ata Muhammad Bandiyali rahimahullah ta'ala held this position. We do not make these issues of dispute. Rather, the tashayyu' the rift of insulting as-sahabatul kiram alayhim ridwan, and the rift of giving superiority or denying the superiority of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. This is what we have been refuting, not the noble status of Ahlul Bayt. In fact, the fada'il of Ahlul Bayt are something that, inshaAllah, our ulama will continue mentioning. The fada'il of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, the fada'il of Sayyidina Imam al-Hasan radiallahu anhu, the fada'il of Sayyidina Imam al-Husayn radiallahu anhu, and the fada'il of Sayyidatuna Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha. These are not issues that we make issues of contention. Even the issue of alayhi salam, after the name of Sahabatul Kiram, the ulama have mentioned, like Al-Imam al-Nawawi radiallahu anhu, that there is karaha, dislike. There is dislike. Our ulama have mentioned that there is karaha. But this issue of karaha, dislike, has been mentioned not because sending salam upon them is forbidden. No. Because this may give ishtibah with Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam. That is the reasoning. Not because we are against the fada'il of the Ahlul Bayt. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give tawfiq to Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah to uphold our aqaid, our beliefs in this time of turmoil. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. يا رسول الله. حق چار یار. يا علي. زندہ باد. الحمدللہ.